I am Sarah Scarborough, founder of Tea Huntress. For me, tea is so much more than a healthy beverage. Stretching across millennia, tea has been revered as a ritual, a meditation, a wellness practice, a way to reconnect with yourself and others, and to cultivate moments of stillness and beauty. Visit us at teahuntress.com to discover high vibe teas, an immersive online tea school, and transformational experiences that will awaken you to the magic of life. That is teahuntress.com.
Welcome to Without Maps, the podcast. I'm your host, travel writer and rabble-rouser, Daniel Scheffler. For the last 2 decades, I've been working as a travel writer for publications like the New York Times, Condé Nast Traveler, and the Wall Street Journal. And I've traveled to about 130 countries. If you don't know me at all, well, now is as good a time as ever to get acquainted. I was born in Africa, bred in Europe, and now I live in America. And with this mix of an accent and as much wit as I can muster up, I shall offer you some heart knowledge. During the show, you'll meet my husband, Michael, the Jersey boy I married, and our pup, Ella, a street dog from Puerto Rico. The show is a delight of travel stories and some lessons from the world showcasing the humanity that I believe in. My belief is that travel is a mirror of ourselves and a reminder to have zero expectations, to let connections happen, and to avoid the preconceived ideas we foster. This show is for people willing to forego the guidebook and the map and let travel be their convoy. So, out with the biased and in with the unbidden. Please join me as I venture into the world without maps. Welcome back to Without Maps. I'm your host, Daniel Scheffler. Today we're going to real America. Or so I think. Every time I think I've managed to get under America's skin, I realize I don't know it at all. I've traveled to most of the states at this point, by train, boat, doggie-sled, plane, horseback, seaplane, snowboard, and a wagon of some kind, and of course, road tripped virtually every inch of this giant, glorious lump of a country. I semi-permanently descended on New York in my mid-20s, fell in love, and oh so quickly realized that Manhattan is not America. But if I choose to live in this country, and, as I did, eventually become a citizen, I needed to unveil as much of it as possible. The delicious, the wicked, the confusing, and all the rest. So I went everywhere. For me, America represents opportunity, tainted by Nixon, the nightmare of the previous administration, and of course, decades of unnecessary imperialism. But, nevertheless, a very specific set of circumstances, plus this muti, a gorgeous word from my childhood that to me means a kind of alchemy, that comes together making something possible, a moment to eke out a little oasis for yourself. And as they say, only in America. But that's why travel is so crucial, to understand all the nuance that bubbles underneath this place of roughly 350 million people. Try spending time in San Francisco and then judge it. Or walk every neighborhood of Baltimore, like I did, before you come to a foregone conclusion. And the Gulf of Mississippi. Well, go, and then let's talk about it. It's hard to ignore the realities at the border of Mexico when you're actually there. Not the hyped fake news nonsense the media plays out, but the plight of people seeking a better life. It's also impossible not to feel sympathy when you venture into areas across the Midwest, where big industry has left people behind in the most wicked of ways. Not to mention when you spend enough time in parts of particularly the West and the South, where climate change is changing the landscape in front of your very eyes. Speaking of the South, the best way to think about it is it's not a monolithic thing. It's nuanced, beautiful, and utterly complicated. And if you stop judging it and come see for yourself with a little less snide, perhaps you'll actually learn something. America is just a possibility. As former President Barack Obama says, America as an experiment is genuinely important to the world, not because of the accidents of history that made us the most powerful nation on earth, but because America is the first real experiment in building a large, multi-ethnic, multicultural democracy. And we don't know yet if that can hold. There hasn't been enough of them around for long enough to say for certain that it's going to work. And this is where my heart sinks, but also where I hold my cup of hope. When I travel around the country and people invite me into their homes or randomly share a joint with me on a dusty road or huddle with me on some form of public transport, I feel like we're so completely different, but exactly the same. I believe in human goodness, in connection, and I believe that Americans want to choose love and kindness. Growing up in South Africa, currently finally facing the backlash of a horrid apartheid regime, has made me see this situation through a very specific tainted lens. But even so, what I know to be true is that we have yet to reckon with America's past, starting with Thanksgiving. Real America is not at gate 32. I sometimes tell the story where I'm standing in the Phoenix airport by myself. I was coming, or was I going? That horrible election had just taken place, and we'd somehow found ourselves in a place where who I fuck mattered to voters, where I lived and how much I had studied gave me a supposedly bad nickname in the press, where unwanted babies inside you or wanted ones at the border were equally caged, and even where I was from concerned voters. I looked around and thought, fuck, here it is. America. Real America. I watch as people too obese to walk scoot around in shimmery maroon electric mobility chairs. The line at a takeaway disgusting empty-calorie food establishment double, triple, and turn into a fight just for a place to queue to buy a fried nothing wing. An act of defying the establishments and their rules, someone litters, just casually throws their empty chocolate wrapper in the front of hordes of ignoring people right in the middle of a walkway. Without reason, an unemotional hand scoops the shiny landfill friend right up and basketball hoops it into a trash can. The announcements blare. The lighting stays the same. The world's rotating still. Yes, it's here at gate 32, that I see it all. I hear it all. I feel it all. Or so I think. Someone insists at a gate agent that they are entitled to bring their hamster menagerie on board, complete with a wheel, a sort of multi-layered playpen mixed with excessive and what seems to be like very challenging tunnels. And yes, they have official paperwork from the Board of Emotional Support Hamsters. This was nothing, I thought. On a small domestic China flight, my seatmate whipped out a mini portable propane stove, jacked it right up to heat their fish breakfast. I'm talking about open flames. How, you ask, did they get this on board? I'll never know. My Cantonese sometimes magically works. My Mandarin never does. Not whatsoever. Back to Phoenix. Excuse me, young man, would it be possible to give up your seat because it's better feng shui for me to see the gate and my wife coming from the Dunkin'? Then a baby throws up all over itself, its parents, and the information desk. I am in this casino of life, no winnings to see here, no thrill either, no sense of adventure, just the rigmarole of life, this workaholic bullshit life that opens up for weekends where you're supposed to potter around the house. Or holidays where you fly somewhere just to go do things with people you hate because it's harder to say no. So if the house always wins, where is this check-in desk? Latecomers demand for the flight to reopen doors. moppers slowly dragging a dirty, stringy white mess around floors that just represents, only in America, legal challenges. The business executive douchebag with the oversized cabin to-me bag, tagged with his chitty embossed airline status, paired with the faux expensive watch, that cologne from duty-free, and the bad wheat-colored semi-casual polo shirt lines up to board first, of course, to take that plunge into the skies before anyone else. Never thinking of anyone but themselves, never considering that anyone else on the planet could even remotely be as important as they are. Of course, they have to go ahead of the person with disability, a person who needs every second extra just to walk down the aisle, and the little kids in strollers. Capitalism never felt better as it warms your heart. The families with the children who just scream at anyone willing to eat their decay, the families with the old folks asleep in the wheelchair tow, the families without shoes. My favorite family in the history of travel has to be the octagon of sameness. Momsy, Daddy, and 6 children in identical cut-off jean shorts and matching t-shirts with the word #blessed on their chests. Mom blew her now lipstick-smeared whistle, and the formation readied themselves for a cheerleader prayer. Then there is always the extra bright colors of luggage, lugging behind, falling over, foot-rested, security clamped, tagged, and tinseled. The luggage of life. We lug it to a destination for no reason, only to lug it right back. It's hard to imagine that there was a time where airporting was part of the adventure. It was chic and worth dressing up for. They even had a glamorous bar and restaurants with fresh, organic food. It was a respite between arduous hours in a tiny tin box above the clouds, a place to show off your finest manners, your finesse, your well-adjustment in the world. A venue of greeting and meeting, darling. The feeling of knowing every face, as if you've seen them before, known them before. That is the way airports reveal themselves. Don't I know you? Aren't you the generic human that comes into my orbit? So many bad choices out in the world, just exposing themselves. The hushed affair, the cheap hair dye job, the attempt to join the elite class, the stolen luggage, the snarky glances, the fake credit cards, the eating disorders, the lies, the lies, the lies, the lies. Airports reveal it all. It's a trap, really. How many adult hours have I done this for? Let's call things 500 trips. I mean, it's much more than that. A few airports per trip, a minimum of an hour per airport. We're in the 4-digit zone now in terms of hours spent watching, waiting, learning, waiting. To make this easy, a year of my life has happened here at Gate 32. You'd think I know what it beholds, what it represents, what it both shields and blabs. You'd think that I had mastered some kind of code, some mystery thing. People have called themselves experts for less. You'd think that this equipped me with some crystal ball or magic juice that I could write a book about, do a TV circuit with, or maybe even hit a little TED Talk. Or is that passé now? So fine, a TikTok educational series that will be turned into a Netflix movie. But in fact, it's done none of that. It's given me no insight whatsoever. It has filled my hours. It has churned my brain. It has made me understand humanity so much less. There were no patterns, nothing concrete, no true meanderings of sanity. It's all just chaos. Organized for moments and disorganized in others. It brought me a sense of fucking nothing. It made me hate people more. It made me love some people more deeply. The airport's stolen kisses, the rudeness of the promised hierarchy, the starkness and tension of it all. Caducity, I love this word. It means the fragility, or fine, call it transitory, nature of it all. But it comes from the Latin to fall. And that is what Gate 32 does. It lets us all fall into line, fall into ourselves, fall for someone, something. Part of travel is this hell, this place where only half of America will ever venture to. When I read that statistic years after this Phoenix airport moment, you know, that coastal elite I know better than moment, I realized that I didn't know America at all. It's cloud illusions I recall. America's not like anywhere else on the planet. It's home to me. It is at all times both the worst of humanity and the absolute best. It has no middle ground, and it means I have to grapple with where I sit on my scale. We're going to take a little break to have a word from our sponsors.
I am Sarah Scarborough, founder of Tea Huntress. For me, tea is so much more than a healthy beverage. Stretching across millennia, tea has been revered as a ritual, a meditation, a wellness practice, a way to reconnect with yourself and others, and to cultivate moments of stillness and beauty. Visit us at teahuntress.com to discover high-vibe teas, an immersive online tea school, and transformational experiences that will awaken you to the magic of life. That is teahuntress.com.
So I wrote this piece because it was a kind of crazy moment. I remember thinking like, oh, I'm traveling so much. I'm here in the middle of America, these big airports, and I really can, like, I have insight into America. And I felt like I was the one seeing it, right? Like this is such a kind of crazy thought if I think about it now. Anyway, so I would travel and I'd be at all these airports in the middle of the country and I'd be like, oh, I understand America. I can see real Americans. This is where they are. And then I read this statistic that said like half of America will never even go to an airport like this. Meaning I'm not in any way seeing real America. This is not where. Because I thought, oh, the airport. Oh, yeah, everyone's here. Look at this. This is America. Because it seemed so diverse to me. It seemed so, I mean, heinous, but heavenly. But it's not true. Like, it is actually not a representation of America. To see America, you have to do everything. You have to go everywhere. You know, from the top to the bottom, from the left to the right, from the west, from every direction. That's how you see America. So I wrote this piece because I realized that what airports do is like they both make people wonderful and kind, right? Like you'd lose something and someone will bring it to you, and there's like a kindness and a sweetness and a beautiful humanity. But it also brings out that like that strange entitlement. It brings out that idea that we've lost in some ways our social contract. We have forgotten that actually how we want to show up, how we want to be, takes work. And the problem with COVID is, I have a friend who says this in a perfect way. She said, like, during COVID, you could have your drink at home the way you wanted it. Oh, 3 blocks of ice, just a little water, splash of water. I wanted it just like that. And then COVID ended and we went back out in the world and you're like, oh, now I still want it exactly like that. I'm used to having it the way I want it. But now you're expecting the world to give it to you like that. And it doesn't necessarily work on your timeline exactly how you want it. That's why when you leave the house, everyone's now on their phone on loudspeaker watching soccer or having phone calls or playing Candy Crush for us all to be participating. And that's the like social media / iPhone / tech like that has ruined some of that good behavior where we were just trying to look. Traveling's hard. It can be hard. So you kind of want people around you to behave well, and you're like, I should behave my best self to make this easier so that it's not worse than it already is. But people have forgotten this, and the airport is a good example of how you see this behavior, the good and the bad. So that's where this episode came from. Without Maps, the podcast is produced by Chandler Mays and written by me, Daniel Scheffler. Emotional support by Michael and the best dog in the world, Ella. Until the next episode, bon voyage and happy landings.
I am Sarah Scarborough, founder of Tea Huntress. For me, tea is so much more than a healthy beverage. Stretching across millennia, tea has been revered as a ritual, a meditation, a wellness practice, a way to reconnect with yourself and others, and to cultivate moments of stillness and beauty. Visit us at teahuntress.com to discover high-vibe teas, an immersive online tea school, and transformational experiences that will awaken you to the magic of life. That is teahuntress.com.